2015 was a special year in the world of anime, but as far as new titles go, I'd have to award Best of the Year to Death Parade. I mean, from the opening sequence, which was beyond awesome, to the psychological torture, it was definitely a highlight to anybody following anime last year. However, with the new year starting, most people have turned to new things to watch and review. Luckily, I am not most people. Hello, people of Earth and elsewhere. Welcome back to the channel where what you get is spam and I am crackers. This week, spam consists of me being stuck on the thematic use of Latin names for everything in the afterlife setting of Death Parade, wherever that happens to be. Now, there's already the obvious memento mori, that little blue drink that Decim mixes in the second to last episode. They give you the whole Latin translation of that one right off the bat. Quote, remember one day that you must die, end quote. Or that's the really nice philosophical translation of it. Shortened, it's really just remember death, or most literally, remember to die. I know the context of telling someone that would have been different millennia ago when it was still in use, but death isn't something that I'd have on my grocery list. I guess the way that they translated it in the show is the way they'd expect you to take the meaning of it anyway. People with a head for numbers, or who know a thing or two about language, probably caught on to the Arbiter names as well. And before I go into that, can I just say really fast that the Arbiter also comes directly from Latin? As if this actually needed to be said, an Arbiter is a judge, or a person who is given the sole duty of judging, which makes perfect sense how it's used in the show. Now back to the numbers. Decim, or as he's called Decim, is the root of words like decimal, but just seeing it spelled out can tell us that. Decim is also the number 10 in Latin, and that really shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone either. It's also the suffix for most of the teen numbers, which is somewhat less known. Then there's the bar that he works at as an arbiter, or rather the floor. The 15th floor is called Quindecim, and it's not really a stretch to guess at how this all comes together, especially once we're introduced to the previous arbiter of this particular floor, Quin. Her name isn't as cut and dry when it comes to translations as Decim's is, because Quin in and of itself doesn't really have a particular meaning. It's a prefix to words like quintuple and indicates quantity, ergo the number 5. In the case at hand, Quin does make up the other half of Quindecim, which of course is the number 15 in Latin, which is the name of the bar and the floor that it is located on. And this theme is continued with the other bars as well. Ginti, or Ginti as he's called, also has no numerical meaning by itself, but is a suffix for multiples of 10. In the case of his bar, Viginti, it's located on the 20th floor, so again with an educated guess, you could probably find out that Viginti means 20. Triginti is 30, and so on and so forth. The last in numeric value that I come to is Nona, whose residency is the 90th floor of this afterlife structure place. So if you get as far as Viginti, Nona's name should come as pretty obvious as well. On its own, Nona could mean something that is the 9th in a sequence, like first, second, third, etc. When added as a prefix to the suffix Ginti, we get the word Nonaginta, or the number 90. And I'd like to quickly point out that Nona is more than just a key part in this series, and even though she says the floor an arbiter works on has no indication of their rank, she lives on what is possibly the top floor and does much more than the standard arbiter, to the point where she has all the connections she needs in order to do the experiments that she's making during the time of the show. Is her floor even a bar? If her name is any indication, Nona is an arbiter as well, but we've never seen her judge anybody. That doesn't mean that she's never done it before, but these are just the kinds of things that pass through my brain as I watch the show, though the themes are, as I said, clearly stated. She's likely more experienced to be put in the position to monitor the other arbiters and stuff like that, but I still wonder how she got the 90th floor and how the judgments work there. Now, pretty much any curious party could find this stuff on the wiki and say, oh, hey, cool, the arbiters are just numbers, and the way they're described makes perfect sense. They're there to judge and do nothing else. They're dummies, or just numbers in some sort of system used to judge the souls of the dead. But the rest of the residents of this convoluted afterworld also have names that come from Latin roots with special meanings. So, I'd like to point out exactly how interesting this little Latin game can get. For starters, there's Occulus. His name is Latin for eye, and very aptly so. He's the self-proclaimed closest thing to God in this place of all you need to know is that dead people go here. He's pretty much the boss of the entire system, and as his name would suggest, he sees everything, or in the case of Nona's little experiment, he at least manages to find out everything. If anything gets past his vision, it doesn't stay that way for very long. Oh, and if it means anything, his eyes, as they are exceptionally strange when you compare them to the Arbiter's eyes or the eyes of the regular humans who pass through this judgment system. From all eyes to pretty much no eyes, I thought I'd check out if Clavis meant anything of interest, and after a few mistranslations, I found out that his name means lock or key. Not much of a deeper meaning. I mean, he's the elevator guy and apparently the only person with direct access to the bottom floor of the afterlife structure. Seriously, is it like a hotel or something? A casino? Death casino? That one sounds about right. But Clavis is key. He's apparently not an arbiter, though he doesn't seem to do much in the series anyway. His eyes are closed all the time, so that probably goes with the eye theme that I brought up earlier. Almost to the last on this list, we meet the character Castra a couple of times in this series. She's the one who sits in the chair with the skull hat. She's always sucking on some sort of lollipop, and from what I can tell, she organizes people's souls in the form of drops of red liquid, blood, wine, who knows, into wine glasses in the area where she works. Apparently directing the souls of the dead to which floors and arbiters they go to be judged. Although, according to a source, her alternate title is the Queen of the Dead, that's not what her name means. Also, if you look closely, her eyes are unique to the afterlife. They are X's instead of the arbiter's crosses, but they're definitely not the same as Oculus's eyes, which might suggest that her position of power falls somewhere in between the two. But back to her name. Castro translates to castle or fortress, but the word is always used in a plural form of the word. So in most contexts it's used, it means essentially defenses. And that only makes me think that her position includes doing more than just what we've seen. I mean, she seems to be letting souls into the afterlife, but if her name indicates defenses, perhaps it's also her job to keep things out? I don't know, food for thought. Let your brain chew on that one for a little while and tell me what you think. Now, if I wasn't so involved in talking about dead languages, dead languages, the afterlife, that's funny, I probably would have stopped this video after Castra, but there is one more denizen of the afterlife whose name has a rather peculiar meaning. Well, who could that be? We've covered pretty much everyone, right? No, we forgot about Ginti's cat, Memine. Now, it's actually pronounced Memine, so since they're saying Memine all the time in both the English and Japanese dubs, it's not a wonder that people wouldn't give more than a passing glance at her, but this one is different. Her name is different than the others in a number of ways. First off, can I just say this is a seemingly random cat in the place of the Judgment of Souls? I mean, what is it doing there besides playing partner to that grouch Ginti? She's the only non-humanoid thing we see living in the place where souls are judged, besides some jellyfish we see in a fish tank in Quindecim. And I have no good answer for what purpose she is there, you know? Could this cat be something that's supposed to be a little more to the story? I may be looking a bit too far into this. I mean, she is just a cat, but Memine isn't Latin like the other names, at least. Well, it is Latin, but in Latin it's not quite the same. Eye, key, defenses, and a series of numbers are all nouns. They're persons, places, and things, but Memine is a verb. It just so happens to be a different part of speech, but it still caught my attention, because it comes from Memini or Meminisse, which means to remember. And it's not so much just the fact that it's a verb, but it's the imperative form of this verb. And what that means for anybody who's lost with all these big words I am apparently spouting is it means remember. It's imperative. It's a command. Remember this. That's it. I mean, remember, darn you. I don't know about you, but the way that all the previous names played out makes me want to say that this holds some sort of a specific special meaning. This cat, though, I mean, if it were simply a play on, like, the memory games used by the Arbiters to make judgments, I feel like they would have left it as a noun like the others. You know, maybe memoria, which is literally memory in Latin. So why is this cat going around telling people to remember? Or at least to try. I mean, with everybody calling it Memine, I don't think that anybody's really going to get what the cat is trying to tell you. Why is she there? Why did she leave Ginti after he judged Mayu? Again, I don't think I could say any of these things, at least not in a way that would keep this video timely, so I'll end it there for now. Did I manage to enlighten anyone? Did I manage to pick your brain, make you think? Well, that was the underlying meaning of this video, besides an excuse to show you my Death Parade speed paint, which I am somewhat proud of. If you have any thoughts concerning my escapade into Latin insanity, please comment below, even if it is just to tell me how crazy I am or if I got a translation wrong. I am honestly curious about what you have to say. If you'd like to find the finished picture, you can get the link to my DeviantArt account in the description below. And you can check out my other artwork while you're there if you want to. Suggestions for future artistic endeavors and constructive criticism are always appreciated. And if you want to suggest a topic of monologue for a video in the future, go ahead and put that out there too. I'm always open to them. Thanks for sticking around to this point, and I hope to catch you in the next video, which will be a JoJo feature. Okay, everybody, I'll see you later. Bye!